All right. Welcome, welcome,
Hey.
welcome. Hey,
Hey,
Coach Jen, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am doing great, doing great. We are surviving this heat wave so far. I hope everyone is staying cool out there, right?
I'm so
Um,
glad to be hosting this topic with you today. VA math is such a touchy subject, and I love that I get to host this with you because it's something that I myself needed to brush up on. Um,
right.
I have a hard time explaining it to my veterans, and I share resources with them to help describe it, explain it. But being able to talk through it and do a little bit of extra research to be able to answer questions really was a good opportunity for me. So I'm excited to do this with you.
Oh, I'm super excited to do this with you as well. Same for me, right? It was definitely an education. It's good to bone up on this and learn more. I'll tell you, I definitely did not have the best grades in math when I was in high school. Don't let these glasses fool you, you know?
I don't math. I don't math. I have teenage kids. I don't need to.
Right, right.
So let's welcome our veterans. Thank you everybody for joining us today for VA Claims Insider Facebook Live. We want to invite you to drop a shout out into the chat if you want to let us know where you're checking in from, what branch you served in. If you already have a VA Claims Insider coach, give your coach a shout out. Just say hey. And we can give you a shout out as well. Justin, can you tell us a little bit about you and your background and your time at VA Claims Insider?
Yes, totally. So I've been at VA Claims Insider for a few years now. I love this company. It's by far the best job I've ever had. Right. I get to wake up every morning and help veterans and help people just in general. I know what we do here is beneficial to people's lives and can really promote great life change. So this is why I'm here. This is what I'm here to do. And Jen, I'm sure you have a similar story as well, right?
Well, I similar. I've been here for just just over 2.5 years. I am the daughter, wife, and mother of United States Marines. I have one son who is currently active duty. He's active duty in on the West Coast, so he's a Hollywood Marine.
Right
Um,
on.
um, and I've been dealing with veterans professionally for over 20 years in healthcare, specifically related to benefits. And veterans across the board are underserved,
Yes.
and underrated. My husband is a former VA Raider, and I saw a lot of his frustrations with being able to develop and give veterans what they deserved.
Mm-hmm.
So when this opportunity came up, I had to jump on it to be able to affect positive life change for veterans who are struggling with the benefits that they deserve morally, ethically, and medically. So being able to do this and successfully, for more than 2 years now, and for the long term,
Right.
it's the most fulfilling role I've had professionally. And I, working with veterans in my community, this is by far the most fulfilling role as far as interacting with veterans that I've ever had. I build the best relationships with my veterans. It's hard to let them go. They get their wins, and it's like, okay, well, I guess you don't need me anymore.
Right, right, and you just kind of have to send them off. But that's definitely the best send off you can give. And something I always tell myself as a non-veteran coach, right? It's great to serve those who have served, right? So I think this is a life of service towards each other, and it's just incredible to have these opportunities to hear people's stories, right? Get involved and help people out. So I love what we do. I'm always excited to get to host with you, Coach Jen.
I love it.
Yeah, why don't we jump into the disclaimer real quick?
Sure. Let me get that real quick. Okay. Let's get this out of the way, and then we'll give a couple of our veterans some shout outs. So we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we're not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching and consultant company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with our preferred provider network for medical examinations and IMOs for a wide range of disability conditions. And I do really quick just like to take take a minute to clarify that, again, we're not accredited agents. We're not VSOs. We're not accredited attorneys. We are veteran coaches, and our role is a little bit different than those VSOs and accredited agents. Our role is not to do this for you. We're not completing your claims for you. We're not doing the work. We're working with you on developing strategy as you're attacking the daunting process to develop the best path to achieving success with regard to value in your rating, not necessarily only the compensable rating, but the federal benefits, the healthcare benefits, and everything that comes along with what you deserve. So we're walking alongside you throughout the process, providing guidance, support, and education via conversations with your coach, via our resources, via our Facebook resources. And we're helping you to empower yourselves to achieve that level of success that you deserve. So through our resources and through our interactions, that's how we're helping you to win. We're not doing the work for you. We're walking right along with you, providing essentially just like a coach, just like a personal trainer. You come to us with your goals, you come to us with where you're starting from, and we're using our experience and our knowledge to help you with understanding the process better, knowing how best to support and develop your claims to achieve the success that you're working on.
Yeah. And it's a partnership, right? To develop that strategy, figure out what you need to get educated on, equipping you with that knowledge. And that last part, right? That medical evidence, if it's required, to really see what's going to bolster your claim and help as much as we can help, right?
Yep. Yeah. We don't want there to be any misunderstandings about what it is that we do.
Yes.
We are coaches, and that's what we're here for, to help support you to success. And let's give some shout outs to our vets who checked in.
Yeah.
I have a good handful of my veterans in here. Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Hi, Joel.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Leon. Thanks for the shout out.
We've got a lot. Let's see. Oh, we've got a career Marine, Al Figueroa, who's in Winterville, Georgia. His coach is Sandra. Let's see.
Oh my gosh, we got Anthony. Anthony got to 100% P&T after 15 years. Congratulations!
Congratulations! Better late than never. I always say, I think that, hey, Emily, hi. I always say that things happen when and how they're supposed to.
Right.
And sometimes challenges are meant to bring you more than just the actual outcome. So sometimes the process related to your VA disability and that win is bigger.
Yes.
And especially for our veterans that are kind of going through that process with mental health, they see that when they're going through the mental health process and they realize how, delving into that mental health is truly beneficial and a journey. Things happen when and how they're supposed to. And maybe at another point in time it wasn't part of your path.
Right.
So, 15 years, but you're there now. And congratulations to you. Congratulations.
Sometimes it can be a journey, right? And as a part of that journey, there's definitely a lot of confusion, a lot of things that people need clarification on. And that's, as coaches, that's what we're here to help and support and do. And one of those big ones is VA math, right? VA math is by far one of the most confusing things out there. I'm sure a lot of veterans here have a lot of ratings and percentages that probably add up. If you were looking at your rating sheet and adding everything up, probably have things over 100%, right? Just by what you're adding. But unfortunately, that is not how the VA calculates math, correct, Coach Jen?
No, not at all. Sometimes you're going to see, you're at 180% by actual math. And it's really frustrating. And I see in the comments, a lot of people have taken the time to figure out how VA math works. And a lot of people just don't. They just don't understand it. It's another one of those daunting components of the VA process. So they just accept it and move on. But if you understand how the VA math works, it helps to take a little bit of frustration out of the process. and then helps you when you're developing your strategy, when you're trying to figure out how close am I, what's the next path of least resistance to the next highest value claim, and how's it going to close the gap for me. Understanding really helps. Now, you could very easily jump on the vaclaimsinsider.com website and look at our calculator, and it'll do it all for you. But understanding why 140 is really only 80 is really important, because it's very frustrating and it just blows people's minds. So those of you that have figured it out and taken the time to dig into it, absolutely excellent. You're kind of ahead of the bar than some people.
Yeah.
And me, you know, I've always just kind of gone to the calculator and defaulted rather than trying to truly understand it. And I struggle with explaining it to my veterans.
I think the best that I've found to really explain, you know, on a basic level how VA math works is, let's imagine, for example, that you don't have any disabilities. You never put in any disability claims before. The way that the VA views you is that they assume that you're 100% healthy because you have no disabilities, right? Now, let's say you were to put in your first claim and, for instance, you got 50% as a rating for that claim. Well, this is how the VA now views you. They see you as 50% healthy, 50% disabled, right? So before you're at 100, they're taking that 50 away from that 100, and now you're 50% healthy, 50% disabled. So let's say you were to put in a second claim, and that one also gets 50%. Well, I think Coach Jen, you and I would both assume, right? 50 plus 50 would equal 100. However, that is not the case.
I wasn't even that good at math. I wouldn't get that right.
Yeah. So I got you there. So in that case, right, instead of the 50% being added to your 50% disability, what they're doing is, again, they're taking that 50% away from you as a 50% healthy individual. So 50 of 50 is half, right? So that's 25. So what they're adding to that 50% disability is that 25. So what you end up with is 75%. And when it comes to VA math, you know, if you see that 5%, that means they're going to round you up for compensation. So your actual percentage will be 75%, but your compensated percentage would be 80% because they'd round up to the next 10.
Which is incredible news when you're in the 90s and you hit 95%, which rounds you to 100. So that extra little bump there is actually it's beneficial.
It definitely is. Yeah. And you know, speaking of 90%, I think many of you on this call may have heard that's one of the most difficult jumps to make, right? To get from 90 to 100. And for some of the reasons, you know, understanding VA math helps you understand that frustration. Because, for example, you could be at 85% and round it up to 90%, or you could be at 90% total, or you could even be at 94%, 93%. It really depends. So understanding how the math adds up, how your conditions are added up, can give you a good idea of the distance from the next level up, or where you're at in the rating levels, right?
And you're right. From 90 to 100 is the biggest jump, because from 90%, those percentages are so much smaller. Okay. So, you know, and 10% really is, you know, about 10%. So going from 85 to 95 is a big jump. And sometimes that's, you know, that strategy is a 2-tier strategy. We're taking 2 chunks, 2 big steps of claims. But in the grand scheme of things, if we're doing this, that's about, you know, 5 to 6 months.
Right.
So, you know, we're not committing too terribly long to developing 2 claims for you to move that needle from 85 to 95, even though it is a bigger jump. But within 90%, you just keep moving the needle within the 90%. So you get a win, you're at 93. You get a win, you're at 100. Starting at 85. So closing the gap is the goal. Closing the gap is the goal. And I kind of want to backtrack a little bit to kind of talk about our process with regard to getting those wins and starting achieving those numbers. So VA Claims Insider, again, we're veteran coaches, and we work with our veterans using the SEM method. Okay, so strategy. We're going to do an initial call. We call that our strategy call. All right, our veterans prior to that call will share DD 214, your rated disabilities summary, your individual, so your combined rating, which is the keyword actually here in this live today. We're talking about your combined rating, multiple rated conditions that are totaling your combined rating number. So we're looking for your rated disabilities combined rating, but it also lists all of your individual ratings and all of your previously denied conditions. Okay. Share any previous denials with us. If you have VA or private medical records, your most recent medical records. What we do prior to our call with you is review all of that so that we already know in our head what is a really good strategy. A lot of veterans are going to come to us going, I need to get my knee, I need to get my shoulder, I need to get this service connected. It's really important to come to us open to strategy and perspective, because our perspective is to guide you towards value and success, and not necessarily towards that shoulder. That shoulder might only be valued at 10 or 20%. When you look at the big picture, you may have potential for 70, 50, 30, 30, 30. We can help you to put together a strategy that's going to achieve you value, starting with strategy. Okay, then education. We're going to educate you on the process. What do you need to support that claim to develop it for success? Okay, what do you need to know to be prepared for an eventual C&P exam? Okay, that's kind of how our process works. Okay.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit to that as well. Just to give people some perspective on how difficult it can be and how important it is to be open to strategy, right? Because when sometimes I'll have strategy sessions with some of my veterans, and they're like, "Oh, I want to do, like you're saying, Coach Dan, I want to do my shoulders, I want to do my back, I want to do this, and the other." Here's one of the big differences. It takes 27 10% conditions to get to 100%, from 0 to 100. 27 10% conditions. And if we're taking a look at the whole of all of this, there are conditions that you might have that might yield higher percentages. For example, it only takes 50% conditions to get to 100 versus 27 10% conditions. And we're not saying that every single condition you have is going to be worth 50%, but that's why this strategy is important. That's why having a little understanding of how the VA math works can kind of help to better understand what an effective strategy in terms of value and time is going to be for you, right? And just like we have here, any questions, any concerns about the program, anything that anyone on this call is interested about, sign up for a discovery call with us, right? Find out what we're about, talk to our very capable BDRs. They'll be able to tell you about the program and what to expect. Right?
So one thing that throws a hitch into the giddy up with VA math. VA math is already so convoluted and for a lot of us hard to not only comprehend, but to describe. One thing that throws the hitch in the giddy up is that bilateral factor.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're rated for right shoulder, left wrist, you're getting credit for both upper extremities, bilateral factor. Okay. Even if it's wrist and shoulder, it doesn't have to be right shoulder, left shoulder for bilateral factor, right and left upper extremity. You're getting a small percentage to add to those round numbers. And these have decimals in them. So like 2.4, 1.9, you're getting a very small percentage to kind of help move the needle a little bit when you have a bilateral factor that's being considered with your rating. That's I was going to quote out of the 38 CFR how the bilateral factor is considered, but it's easier to just say it the way I said it. When it's right and left, upper extremity or lower extremity, you get a small percentage of value for it being a bilateral condition. Bilateral, that your bilateral extremities are affected and rated. Okay, so that's just another little nugget that helps to move the needle a little bit farther.
Yeah, and I think you would agree with this as well, Coach Jen. But there are so many times when I'm looking at a veteran's percentage, their rating levels, and those little tiny bilateral factor boosts of like 1.8, 2.4% can make all the difference sometimes. It could be the difference between you getting the next rating level up or staying one under. So, it is a really big deal. So, thank you for shedding some light on that, because bilateral factor, that it does add up. They may look like small percentages, but they definitely make a huge difference.
When we're looking at, again, I'm going to go back to strategy. So the goal is always to close that gap. We in our strategy call, we're going to determine what's the potential, what's the optimal goals. For some people it's 100, for some people it's 70.
Right.
What is your potential, and how do we get there? Path of least resistance to the highest value claim. You're coming to us with potentially secondary conditions that we can develop for value, for you to submit for consideration and for rating. So we want to talk about what are those conditions that are in real time right now as we're talking, being contributed to by or aggravated by your already service connected conditions that you can develop for success. And those are high value. Those are not 10 and 0% ratings. Those are 30, sometimes 50. And, looking into those presumptive conditions, sometimes those are really easy to develop because they're just low hanging fruit. And some of them can be high value. Sinusitis can be a 30% rating. Asthma can be a 20 or 30% rating. So we'll look at the potential and the value, and not necessarily the conditions. Okay. Once you achieve the goal that you're going for, most of those conditions are going to be covered with medical benefits at minimum, or, as a 100% veteran, potentially the entire veteran is covered and achieved. So don't focus so much on the individual conditions, focus on the math, focus on the numbers and the value that are in your overall medical conditions.
It's the big picture goal, right? Yeah.
Yep. And if you're not sure how you looking at your medical records and not sure, do I have secondaries? Do I have, get on a call with one of our veteran ambassadors, chat with somebody, and just let them kind of help you to decide, yeah, our program's perfect for you. Or maybe, because maybe this isn't for you. Maybe our mastery program is going to be better for you. But look into the potential for being able to get some guidance, get the support to get what you deserve. If you believe that you're underrated or you're not rated at all and you're not sure where to start, jump on a call with one of our veteran ambassadors, or you can sign up directly with me or Justin to be your coach, and we'll get right on the phone with you and walk you through the potential, walk you through the strategy, and we can be your coach. So definitely, I mean, we see success with our veterans daily, weekly, even if it's little steps. It's a big picture. Every little step helps.
And it's truly a community here at VA Claims Insider. We have these Facebook Lives, we have our Facebook mastermind groups, we have our resources as well, all the Zoom classes we offer. And we really do celebrate veteran success here. I mean, I think that's every coach, it's our favorite thing, is to see our vets win, see them get success, right? Because that life change is huge. I've seen so many lives completely turn around and just, see positive benefit coming in. So that is always incredible, something that we're always looking forward to. I see here in the chat, let's see, there was Jay's Beers, or my apologies, Rick Lesko. I am PTSD, 70% sleep or 70% PTSD, sleep apnea 50%, and tinnitus at 10% for a total of 90%. How hard is it to get to 100%? So I did the calculations, right? Not in my head. I use our very handy VA disability calculator. So if you guys are looking to take a look and play around with the numbers and see where you're at, the VA disability calculator that we offer at VA Claims Insider is incredible. Rick, your percentage currently, you are actually at 87%. And so like Jen and I were talking about earlier, because of that 5% and higher, that 7%, they round you up to 90%, right? So from where you're at, there's still a little distance to clear. If you're looking to see how hard it is to get there, it's a difficult question to answer because it depends on what the strategy is going to be, right? What conditions are you going to go for? Are there any certain things that you might be missing that might just give that boost to get you where you need to go? So when you have a chance, I would highly recommend either reaching out to your coach if you have one already, or signing up for a discovery call, because we're definitely excited to talk and see how we can clear that last 10%. Right?
Yep. Thank you. Let's see if there's any other questions. Dave, maybe we should go back to some of these ones. Let's see.
So you know what? We got one here from John Black, right? Let's see. I've used rating calculators online. Is there a formula or anything besides percent ratings that play into the overall combined rating? So there are a couple things. Like we were mentioning, the bilateral factor is something to consider. So you have conditions that go across two areas, right? Like if you have a left arm condition, right arm condition that are the same, that can qualify for bilateral factor. And like you were saying, Jen, it doesn't always have to be 1-to-1, right? All the way across. So it's really taking a look at your rating sheet, taking a look at your disabilities online as well will kind of give you an understanding if you have any bilateral conditions. Otherwise, the way you want to look at the math is it's always a percentage of a percentage being added together, right? So that's why as you get higher in the rating levels, things get more and more difficult because the percentage that's being taken away is becoming smaller and smaller as you're getting higher and higher towards 100%. But the short answer is the VA disability calculators are excellent. They factor in a lot of these things, and you can even add in options to calculate bilateral factor.
Now, I was looking at Bill Griffin's question. Bill Griffin asked, what if I haven't even started the process yet? Should I try on my own and then call you for any denials? Here's what I tell a lot of people in my community that ask the same thing. You know what? You can reach out to Justin or I. You can join the program. And go through a strategy call. Join the program, or you can jump on a call with do a discovery call with a veteran ambassador. And if you don't need us, if it's something that, you know what, you can do this, you can do this part. Here, there are resources out there to help you get your first few percentages. And I tell this to, veterans that are ETSing. You may not need me until day 365. Do some research. If you feel like you absolutely cannot start on your own, then I'll help you. But at this point, you may not need me. Once you're stuck, once you feel like you're not getting what you deserve, maybe that's when you come back to us. But jump on a call with, do a discovery call, talk through your situation. One of the biggest challenges that veterans are dealing with when they're coming to us is, hey, I've been out for 30 years. I didn't go to sick call. I don't have any military medical records. And I didn't go to the doctor until, just this last year. So I have no civilian medical records either. And they don't know, okay, wait, I just can't file a claim. I don't have any medical records. I don't know. We can still help you. Okay. Medical evidence wins claims. That's the long and the short of it. Medical evidence wins claims. So you know what? Now's the time. You're going to establish care with a primary care provider. You're going to start establishing medical records that are documenting the current complaint, achieving diagnoses for the conditions that you're dealing with. And then we're going to guide you through developing those for success. Now, trying to span decades to connect a knee back to, the rock marches that you did 30 years ago. It's going to be tough. That's a
Right.
big challenge. And I'm not going to make any promises. We're not going to, that's going to be challenging. But again, our perspective is value.
Yes.
What can we do to get you on the path for a gateway condition so you can start developing those secondaries? So it's all just kind of about looking at the big picture and not focusing on, I know my knee is from, this fall that I had, but I didn't see my corpsman. I didn't go to medical, but I did hurt my knee. If there's not medical evidence, we're going to struggle. It's going to be tough, but we can help you to make it easier. Um, I always remind myself when I'm looking at records, hey, keep it simple, stupid. Don't focus on these big, low value conditions. Some major conditions can be low value ratings, especially
Right.
conditions that are med managed. Okay, so we can help you to kind of talk through the conditions that you're dealing with. We can talk through a potential gateway condition and start building that value. And you'd be surprised that, veterans that don't have service treatment records, they haven't seen the doctor in 25 years. Now I'm 50 and everything hurts. I better go to the doctor now. Um, that's not the exception. That's the rule. Veterans
Right.
don't see the doctor. Veterans are taught to suck it up. It
Yep.
doesn't hurt. Keep on trudging through. You got this. So once it's finally unbearable, that's when our veterans are going to the doctor.
Yeah.
So it goes hand in hand. You need to have those medical records to support your claim for success.
Yeah, and to build on that as well, I think if anyone here is already considering conditions that you're thinking about working on, if you haven't been to the doctor yet, you haven't been to the doctor in years, get your butt to the doctor. Go get checked out. Talk to them about what's going on, right? Because if you don't have a current diagnosis of the condition you're trying to work on, it's going to be even more difficult to work on that. So if you know there's something you're dealing with, especially if you've been having it for years, tell your doctor about it. They're probably the most important person to hear about that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at the comment from Emily.
Yeah.
Emily's one of my veterans that I'm actively working with. So she had already been working on her disability when she started working with me. So we shifted perspective, just kind of looked at the big picture and shifted perspective, and we're still going. We're still going. She's at 90 now, and we're still going. It was really she was very laser focused, and just that little suggestion of let's look at the big picture. Let's work on value, and yeah, she's successful, and we're still moving. 91 overall. We're right there. You can see her ultimate goal from here. And it's important to, people go into our classes and say, listen to your coach. It's not about that. It's not about that. Trust the process. And we, based on experience, we're experienced on the process. We're experienced in the value. So our recommendations, we want to set you up for success. We don't want to make, we don't want you to be any less successful than you've already been. We don't want you to keep spinning your wheels. We want you to get your win. We want you to get those benefits. Again, the compensable value aside, the benefits, the federal benefits that
Yes.
are being added as your medical benefits. At 100%, you get dental. Your dependents get education and medical benefits, and potential survivor benefits. So the value is significant aside from the monthly deposits, and that's what we want to help you to achieve, all of that, because you deserve it.
Yes.
Medically, ethically, and morally, you deserve it. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. Real quick, we got a question here from RV. Is there a different process to get bilateral factor? I only got a 30% for my right knee, but my left knee is also affected now, and the right knee is the one that's service connected first. Can you shed a little bit of light on that, Coach Jen?
They're a different process. So my question is, if you're service connected for your right knee, but not for your left knee, then the bilateral factor is not going to apply. You need to be service connected for both knees, or both lower extremities. So it wouldn't necessarily need to be your knee. You're service connected 30% for your right knee. And, potentially just based on having to compensate for that right knee, it has caused your left knee to be bad. That's something you could consider developing for service connection. So you would get a potential rating for your left knee and then that bilateral factor.
That little extra bit. Yeah.
Yes.
And just to let everyone know, bilateral factor is calculated in before the rest of your percentages are added together. So think of that as it takes a small chunk of the pie first, and then everything else then comes in when it comes to your combined rating. Okay.
Bill Griffin has a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Should I work on claims from smallest to largest? Absolutely. That is the polar opposite of our strategy.
Correct.
We always start with path of least resistance to the highest value claim. Let's move the needle as hugely as possible right off the bat. Let's get that value, start establishing value right away. So instead of going 10 to 20, there's not really any additional benefit there. That's all just, small compensable value. Once you're at 30%, you can add your dependents to your benefit.
Yes.
Once you're at 50%, you start receiving the medical coverage. Okay. So again, all compensation aside, the value in that 50% and in that 70% is significant. So trying to get there by developing high value claims first, you know what? The highest potential value claim in most cases, individual highest value claim is going to be mental health. Okay.
Yes.
And a lot of veterans leave that stone unturned because they think it's not applicable. Mm-hmm. But mental health can be developed. It's not always PTSD. Okay. It's not always based on your experiences on active duty. If you're experiencing chronic pain, if you're you've got some type of lifestyle impact related to the conditions that you're already service connected for, mental health as a secondary is a highly successful pathway to connecting your mental health, with the average rating for most veterans being 70%. That's our path of least resistance to highest value claim. Okay.
Right.
Sometimes we need to get another condition, recommend to get another condition on the board first so that we can build off of that. But mental health is quite often the path of least resistance to the highest value claim. Then we're starting from either 50 or 70 and building from there. You've got your medical benefits, you've got your dependents on your benefit, your compensable value is over $1,200 a month. So, I mean, you're in the game,
Yeah.
You already life change right there.
And to speak to that further as well, I mean, here's a perfect example. We have Dave Stahlberger. So I just got a secondary to tinnitus, which is at 10%, depression and insomnia at 50%. What am I rated at now? So, even mental health can be secondary to tinnitus, right? Depression, insomnia, things like that. And you can see a 10% now. So in this case, it's secondary to tinnitus, the 50% for depression. So the 10% with the 50% together add up to 60% overall. But your actual percentage is at 55%. So because it's at 55, they round up, and that's why you're getting compensated at 60%. Okay, Dave? Right. So yeah, definitely open up the mental health conversation. If it's something that you've never considered before, hey, consider it. Think about it, right? Ask yourself how you've been dealing with things. I would say, especially, all of us as a collective people, we've all went through the lockdown together with COVID. I'll tell you right now, I deal with depression and anxiety myself. I'm in no way bringing that up to say that I understand anyone else's experience. Each one's experience is individual, but I would say, even I benefit from some counseling, therapy, and things like that. So if you're considering mental health, it's a good conversation to start. Definitely bring that up to your coach if you have a coach, or, when you have your discovery call, ask those questions. They're really excellent questions to ask.
I see a lot of really specific questions in here, and it's really hard to go down a rabbit hole with a veteran. I mean, with just kind of, a question. And as much as I would love to dig in and start asking more questions, to be able to answer these questions, keep in mind that you're not, oh gosh, what's the word, obligated, sorry.
Yeah.
If you join the program and you have a strategy call and you just decide, okay, yep, here's my path, yes, great, I'm going to go forward, I'm going to be an elite member and I'm going to go forward and continue the program. Or if you have a strategy call and you determine, yeah, this isn't for me, that's fine. We don't send any invoices until there's a win. We can work with you, we can coach you, we can do everything that we need to do. But if you determine that it's not for you, then there's a tech component that veterans need to be able to manage for a program. Some people just need some reassurance. They don't necessarily need a strategy. They just need to know that they can do it.
I think that's the biggest thing. And I would say in my 3 years working at VA Claims Insider now, I think one of the greatest values we provide is peace of mind. To have a sounding board, someone there to say, yeah, that is going to be a good idea, or no, maybe we should take another look at this, right? Look at this from another angle. Having that support, because here's the thing: when it comes to the VA process, it could be like trying to climb Mount Everest. Oh, yeah. Now, as coaches, we can't climb the mountain for you, right? You got to climb it yourself, but we're here to support. We're here to show you where to step sometimes, right? And what to, and be there as a support as you're going through that process. So it can be a journey, there are ups and downs, but we're here to work through all that together, right?
Yes. I just saw a question from RV, and it looks like I think he had asked it before too. So I wanted to go back to it. He had asked about PNT.
Yes.
So PNT, there's a couple different ways that they come to permanent and total. Once you hit 100%, there is the potential for a designation of permanent and total, meaning that there's no more considerations or reevaluations. You're done. You've won. Hang up your swords. Go find a new battle. You're there. This is tax-free. The benefits and everything are for the rest of your life. You're good. Now, how do you get that PNT designation when you hit 100%? So when you look at your combined ratings, so some people are 100% for one condition, okay? And if that condition is designated to be static, not likely to get better throughout the course of the rest of your life, then that's going to be a permanent and total rating. Now, when they're looking at the combined rating of 100%, what are the conditions that combined achieved you that 100%? And are those all considered to be static? Again, not likely to get better throughout the course of your life, then you'll achieve the PNT status. So if there are any conditions that are not listed in your combined rating as static, and you'll see that on your code sheet, you need to request that. They don't automatically send that anymore. Then you might want to work on getting those updated to have your doctor send some documentation stating, yeah, this is not getting better. This is definitely going to stay the course or progress. And then the final designation for PNT is the 55 rule. So if you're 55 years old or older when you achieve 100%, then the likelihood is that your 100% benefit will be permanent and total. So a couple different ways to achieve that PNT. We're seeing that, conditions that are degenerative. So if you're rated for a lot of joint conditions that are degenerative, arthritic, not likely to get better and very, very likely to progress and worsen throughout life, and you've developed secondaries off of those, then the likelihood is that those are static conditions. They're not going to get better. They're going to progress. And these secondaries are always going to be tied to this progressive condition. So again, getting with a coach to kind of make those identifications and see if maybe, these conditions you're underrated for some conditions. I have a veteran I talked to yesterday who had a 10% lumbar spine rating from 1995. Well, that probably got worse.
Right.
so let's, that's another consideration that you're going to do look at with your coach. Talk about the current conditions to close that gap also. Some conditions may no longer be rated accurately or may never have been, because I'm going to go up to was it Jay Beards?
Yeah.
Saying that he was rated at 30% for mental health.
Yeah.
I would definitely put some consideration into that and do some research, get with the coach to see, help them, let them help you to identify what your actual mental health severity is, because the average rating is 70% for mental health. When I see a veteran come to me that is, that's rated at 30%, my first question is, do you feel like you're rated accurately?
Right.
30% is a low rating. Some people it is absolutely accurate. So understanding the criteria and how you're rated on any condition is going to help you to determine whether or not you're rated accurately.
And and that is so key, because it's always about the symptoms. It's always about what you're dealing with around that condition that you have, right? So if you feel that you're underrated for something, start evaluating your symptoms, right? Look up what those symptoms are, start asking yourself if you're dealing with these things. And that'll kind of open up that conversation as well. If you get with a coach or if you do a discovery call with us, you're already coming to us with an idea, and we're here to kind of help fill in some of those gaps, right? Something that you mentioned earlier, Coach Jen, that I just wanted to touch upon again is time, right? We've helped many individuals. I've had veterans I've helped all the way from the Vietnam era who have never put in a claim before, and they found success working through this. So don't ever tell yourself it's too late, right? Get started today. Talk to us on a discovery call. Find out what you can do. And another thing that I want to put out there too is, a lot of veterans who come to us are frustrated with the process. They've been denied for their claims, right? Multiple times even. Well, there's always silver linings to denials. There can be opportunities for claims or conditions to be worked on again. So don't feel discouraged. Bring us what you got. We'll meet you where you're at, and we'll figure it out together.
We have so many great questions, and I love that we have so much time to get into questions. Sometimes we go so far into the topic that we don't get to do these questions, and people are so frustrated. But I just saw two. Gary, do you really need a nexus letter for secondary sleep apnea from 100% rating PNT for PTSD? If you're at 100% PNT, walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. You're done. You don't need to do anything anymore. Yeah.
You're done. You're 100%. It's already for the rest of your life. You've got all the benefits. You've got benefits for your dependents. You've got potential DIC survivor benefits for your spouse. Walk away. Don't add anything else, because, and here's why. If you're opening up claims once you're PNT, you're not only putting your permanent and total status at risk, but you're putting all of those conditions that have achieved, or at least your mental health, putting that at risk for reevaluation. If you get reevaluated, your evaluation may determine that, this guy's more of a 70 than 100% now. He's gotten better. And then you propose to reduce. And that's a whole different debacle. So once you're 100% and 100% PNT, let it go. Go fight a different dog. You're good.
And if you're doing this for the purposes of getting healthcare for the condition that you're trying to go for, you're already at 100% PNT. You're getting full coverage from the VA. Just go take care of yourself, right? Any conditions that you're dealing with, just go get checked out for it instead. But
the benefits that you're receiving at 100%. There's no more fight.
Correct.
There's no more fight. Now, the 4-letter word, sleep apnea. Now, I think I've got a handful of veterans in this room, and my veterans can tell you that we're going to chase everything else before sleep apnea. And here's why. The likelihood that sleep apnea is legitimately service connected is pretty low. Number one cause for sleep apnea of diagnostically, is obesity. And obesity is not a rateable condition. It's a symptom. Okay. So there are a lot of conditions that a veteran can be service connected for that are contributing to weight gain and obesity. Everybody in this Facebook Live, raise your hand if you still weigh what you weighed when you got out of the military. Okay, there's probably not a lot of people that raise their hand. So you can't really legitimately, in a lot of cases. Now I'm not saying that there's not a way, but legitimately service connecting sleep apnea, it's tough. And um, even with a nexus letter, there's
Yes.
medical evidence that can support service connection, but it's going to be weak because the VA's stance is you gained weight, your BMI is over 30, and yep, you have depression, yep, you have a back condition that keeps you from being able to exercise and maintain that weight, but the obesity is not a rateable condition, and we have some success. I will say conservatively 25% success rate with PTS or with sleep apnea, even with a nexus letter.
Yeah.
So when we're doing path of least resistance to highest value claim, yes, it's a 50% rating if you're successful. There are other conditions that can be developed for the same or close to the same value that are, for lack of a better word, I mean, I don't want to say slam dunk. Nothing's a slam dunk. We're dealing with the VA claims
Right.
process. But these are highly likely to be successful, and sleep apnea is not. So I will always guide my veterans to, you know what, back pocket. If we need a Hail Mary, if we're at 92% and we need a Hail Mary, and that's where you want to go at the very end, that's my recommendation.
Right.
Let's develop the valuable claims that are going to be more likely to be successful first, because sleep apnea is hated by the VA. It's the rating scale. The law is written vaguely, so it's really not a lot of Emily lost weight. Check her
Yeah.
out.
It can be. Yeah.
Okay, Emily. Okay.
Yeah.
But honestly, you know what? I don't want to pull any punches, and I don't when I'm on the phone with my veterans either. I don't want to pull punches. I do not want to recommend a path that includes sleep apnea unless it's connected, unless it's secondary to maybe respiratory conditions,
Mhm.
or it was diagnosed on active duty. A couple considerations that I would give it, but still at the bottom of the pile, because the bottom line is the VA is going to come back with you gained weight, your BMI is over 30, denied.
Right.
We can write, again, with a nexus letter, we're going to write it out, but the likelihood of success on initial review on HLR, it's a debacle. And if we can get to 100% or we can optimize your potential without it, let's do it. Let's do it.
And when we're talking about nexus letters, that's a specific kind of document, or independent medical opinions, disability benefits questionnaires, things like that can be obtained through our preferred provider network, Telemedica. They're excellent. They're independent from us. But this is what they do, right? They provide medical evidence for VA disability purposes. So when you're speaking with us and we develop strategy, we get you educated on what you need to know. And if we all decide that, maybe you feel you need some extra medical evidence to go with your claim, or that you might require a nexus letter, a DBQ, or an independent medical opinion, our preferred provider is Telemedica. So definitely something to look to. We have resources here that we're linked with, and it's an incredible process. We see so much life change every day. And yes, I will back you up on that, Coach Jen, on the sleep apnea all day. We're not saying no, but we're saying, hey, let's put this on the side and let's think about what else is more effective for you right now, right? Or maybe sometimes that is the most effective strategy. So it really just depends. Talk with us, right?
Yep. Strategy. Now, I think I saw a question. Where did it go? Gosh. Okay. I keep getting denied for tinnitus. And is it okay to open files while other cases are in progress? So my recommendation with regard to claims that are already in progress is that you use an intent to file to bookmark an effective date for your next claim. Let that claim play out. Okay, on average, and I'm saying on average, I know somebody's going to jump in there and go, my claim took 8 months. On average, the VA is asking for up to 90 days to decide a fully developed claim. Okay, once you have all your evidence in on a standard claim, same thing, 90 days. Supplemental claims, they're asking for up to 125 days, but I think over the last 6 months, I think we've seen them playing out just as quickly as the fully developed claims. So as far as when you have another action pending, my recommendation, if you've already got a supplemental claim or a fully developed claim in process, put in an intent to file, sit on your evidence, wait for that claim to resolve, and then that's your one in the chamber. Pull the trigger as soon as you get that decision. Okay, as soon as you get that decision, decide, is this an accurate claim? Do I want to go, how do I want to result, or how do I want to follow up this current decision? And then go forward. But have that one in the chamber, have that evidence ready to file. I don't recommend, filing on top of active. That's going to just drag things out, and that 90 days goes in the basket, because it's just going to keep prolonging the process. They're going to likely combine them, and it's just you're going to end up with deferrals, and it's just faster if you wait out that 90 days.
And I want to add a little bit to that as well. Anytime you're denied for a claim, do not immediately go for the next appeals system, right? So for example, if you're denied for a claim, you have the options of going for a higher level review or a supplemental appeal. Don't just choose an option to do that immediately because the claim was denied, because you don't have new evidence to go with your claim. You might not have the correct strategy. You might not have a diagnosis going with what you need. So instead, talk to us first, right? We'll help you strategize. We'll help you figure out how to reattempt that fight, how to get back into the mix. Okay.
Denials are not the end all be all. Okay. Sometimes they're part of the strategy. And any denial is going to come with the VA is going to show their hand. The VA is going to tell us what is missing. What do I need to, what do you need to submit that's going to close the gap? What is missing? What are they seeing that you can go back in if there's new evidence? Maybe there's an error. I mean, talk to your coach and determine what's the best way to proceed, but don't always go straight to the appeals.
Yeah, and I also want to add too, the VA is not our enemy, right? They're here to help. We're here to, figure out the system with you. Sometimes those denial letters even have little hints on like, hey, this is what you need for this claim to be successful. They want you to see as much success as you want to see success in yourself, but we got to follow the system. We got to make sure that whatever you're doing is going along the correct lines, right?
Yep. With that being said, we're within our last minute and a half, and we want to talk about Brian's book. Brian's book, You Deserve It. The second edition is now available, and if you read the first one, if you used it as a tool to understand the VA process and VA benefits, the second edition is now available. You can order it off of Amazon, or you can download a free version.
Yes.
That's from I think that our amazing friend Genesee is going to throw it into the chat for us. You can download a free copy. There it is, of Brian's second book. And I mean, Brian is he's a content genius.
Yes.
And a perspective genius. He just can see from all angles. He's so relatable. He really is, he gets down to everybody's level. He is, he came from where everybody else came from. Okay. Yeah. And he's put in a lot of hours and a lot of research, and, he is, this is his mission. This is his baby. And I'm proud to be on board with it. I'm proud to be part of his mission, and part of this movement, and being able to affect life change, to build these relationships, to spend the time with my veterans, to the veterans that I have the privilege to work with are, truly deserving, and being able to help support their life change as part of Brian's mission is completely my honor and my privilege.
Likewise, everyone has their story. Everyone has their experiences. We're here to meet you where you're at, figure out how we can take your goals forward. So You know, it's been such a pleasure getting to host with you, Jen.
Oh.
Thank you for spending this hour with me. Thank you, everyone on this live, for spending your time with us. We really value it. And I just want to say in closing, have a great one. Stay cool out there, everybody.
Take care. Any questions that we didn't get to, we apologize. They'll go back through the chat afterwards and try to answer all the questions that went unanswered. So I apologize that we didn't get to any, but we had some great questions. We appreciate your engagement and all the good questions. Take care, everybody. See you next time.
Take care, everyone.